Here we are with Commissioner Sederburg talking about 5 main highlights for the Utah system of higher education for 2011.
Well, we launched the Step Up campaign with federal funds that we received in a grant, but probably more significantly was it helped augment another campaign from a group of business leaders called Prosperity 2020. So the Step Up campaign in combination with Prosperity 2020 is really starting to get the message spread throughout the state that higher education is absolutely critical to our state's economic future and the quality of life here in the state for the future. In addition to the Prosperity 2020 and the Step Up campaign, we're really urging everybody not just to go back to get a traditional 4-year degree or a master's degree, but really take a look at all sorts of options. We really needed to increase our education levels from certificate on up through the doctorate degree. Well, if you're not in high school or junior high school, you're probably not aware of a program called UtahFutures.org, which is a website that is used by junior high school and high school students throughout Utah to look at career options, to do an interest inventory of what the student is interested in their future skills and what they want to do with their lives. Gives them testing options to kind of train them how to take the ACT tests and different ways to prepare themselves for school. Well, that UtahFutures.org website has been very successful, and this year hit the 4 million hit mark, where we have at least 4 million people accessing the website. And as we dig a little bit deeper, we find that we're about 280,000 students register and have inputted their name and their email address and stay on the system for an average of about 17 minutes. And so as we think of 2011, clearly the expansion of Utah Futures is a success story. I think 2012 and 13 we're going to see Utah Futures take off and grow and be even bigger and more significant. One of the ongoing stories in Utah over the last few years has been an increasing number of Utahns coming back to school or enrolling for the first time. And this last fall we had an increase of about 3% in our total enrollment on our college campuses. So we've seen this incredible increase of enrollment at a time when state appropriations have been reduced. Growth of enrollment of about 6.2% over the previous year, and that comes on top of enrollment growth of 7% and I think 5% the year before that. So we've seen a remarkable increase of enrollment over the last 3 years at a time that state appropriations have been cut. And I'm very proud of the way our schools have responded to this enrollment surge, and we've been able to handle this without turning down a great many students, but we've had to turn down some because of the lack of capacity and funds. But by and large, that's got to be a highlight of the year 2011. Utah has always been rather inexpensive, or I would say cheap, as far as state legislative appropriations are concerned, and the schools have done a wonderful job of responding with little money to educate an increasing number of students. And so Utah is one of the top 3 states in the efficiency criteria, and we measure efficiency by the number of degrees per dollar spent. Now, we jokingly say we'd like to be less efficient and get more money because we think it does impact student opportunities to do some things. But by and large, we're pleased that Utah is one of the most efficient states in the union and delivering more good things out of the dollars given to us than almost any other state in the union. Well, I think the biggest thing that I've experienced this year is the adoption of our broad goal or big goal of having 2/3 of our public have some form of post-secondary education by the year 2020. There have been a variety of academic studies that point out that the job market has shifted dramatically over the years. Back in the 1970s, only about 1/3 of the public needed a post-secondary education. Now we're going to be up to 2/3 requiring a post-secondary education. So we've seen the Governor's Educational Excellence Commission adopt this goal. The governor talks about it all the time. Legislative leaders are starting to talk about this. The business community is talking about this. Individual campuses are picking up this theme. So I would rate our number one exciting thing that's happened in the year 2011 was really kind of the adoption of the goal of 66%. One of the spin-offs of that is the creation of a special task force that the governor has created to look at participation of women in higher education and the completion of degrees by women. Utah is 50th of 50 states in the percentage of women with a degree. And that's really an embarrassment for an education-oriented state like we like to believe we are. And so the task force is coming up with some recommendations as to how to improve both the participation and the completion of degrees by women here in Utah. So by and away, I think the biggest achievement in 2011 has been the adoption and furtherance of the 66% goal here for the state of Utah. Well, I think in 2012 there's going to be a lot of very exciting agenda items. I think the legislature, as the budget improves, is going to take a look at how do we start to fund some of enrollment increases. I think we're going to take a look at how do we refine the degrees that are offered to better meet the needs of the industry. I just think 2012 will be a very exciting year for higher education in the state.